Yo, what's up, guys? This is episode 34, 40 years, 40 beers, motherfucker. Your host, Bob Bain, Joe Massi, here on another Friday night, ready to get you into this week's episode. What's up, homie?
What's up, cuz? We've
Nothing
been on a
much.
nostalgia kick for a minute, and this is not nostalgic, but we're going to take a little bit of a different turn this episode. Just as luck would have it, I was rewatching the Godfather series. You were rewatching the Godfather series. We didn't tell each other about it. But
I can't believe you're bringing this up because I think it's funny. We're going to have a great conversation about this. You are out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Don't bury the lead.
No,
So,
go ahead.
you were like, I had watched 1, 2, and 3 very recently. And then like a couple days after, you texted me, you were like, oh, I'm watching Godfather 2. So we both saw 1 and 2 very recently, like in January 2026. And I mentioned to you that 1 is better than 2. And I realized that that's not popular opinion. And actually, when I was a kid, I preferred 3 over all of them, but that's neither here nor there.
So I think our fans have already decided that your opinion no longer matters because you made that statement. You should have waited. When you edit this video, you put that at the end.
I get an opportunity to defend myself. So,
all right. So the gavel, hang on. Boom, boom, boom. Court is in session.
Court is in session. So I think 1 is better than 2. I'm not saying that 2 is a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. It is still one of the best films of all time. It's a phenomenal piece of work in and of itself. But when you look at the trilogy, I think 1 is a better movie. And the reason I think 1 is a better movie is because Vito is so much better than Michael in every way, shape, and form. And so much so that if Vito wasn't in 2, it would have been a horrible film. The best parts of 2 are when Michael's not in it.
Are you out of your mind?
No.
Because the whole series is about Michael.
Michael sucks balls as a Don. Let me get
Explain how.
Let me get into it. So let's look at the opening of 1 and 2 side by side. Okay. The opening of 1 is Connie's wedding. The family's there. It's a very warm atmosphere. Okay. People are coming in asking him for favors. It opens up with Bonacera, and the first thing out of Vito's mouth was, you never invited me into your house for coffee, right?
Yep.
And this mindset of like...
This is to the Undertaker.
Correct. Bonacera. And the mindset of like, we're friends first, we're people first, and then this other stuff is in the background, is how he carried himself. And like Luca just wanted to say thank you for showing up. That's the kind of respect that Vito had with his people. It was a much deeper relationship and connection than just boss and employee situation. And you don't find this out until 3, but even Michael's kids hated him. Your daughter doesn't count. Your daughter's always going to love the father. Connie and Sophia loved their fathers, but Anthony hated Michael. Couldn't stand him.
So you're basing this whole thing
No. I'm not basing the whole
on your love for the character.
Yes. And what did we just say? This whole thing about Pacey and all that shit. It's about the character. The movie is better when the character is better. Vito is a way better character than Michael. And he's a better Don.
First of all, Vito even said, right, to Michael, he said, listen, Fredo was Fredo, right? He's like, Sonny would have been a bad Don. Right.
And he was a bad Don.
He
tells Tom that. He's like, Tom, I never thought you were a bad consigliere. I thought Sonny was a bad Don.
Yeah. Right? He knew Michael was going to be the best Don.
Michael was
going to be great for the family.
Michael was the best choice out of the 4 sons, for sure. But that doesn't make him a good pick. That's just the lesser of 4 evils. I think he was a better character overall, and a better character makes a better movie. And the characters happen to be Dons of mafia families, and Vito was a better Don. Vito was loved. Michael was feared. Now let's look at the opening of 2. It's the communion party. They're in Vegas. It's much colder. There's not a lot of family there. And instead of people like his godson and the people that made him godson to their daughter, Bonacera, asking for favors, it's the senator trying to shake him down for the liquor license.
Okay.
Telling him to go fuck himself. So Michael didn't create anything, and he didn't really preserve anything that his father created. Vito built everything. Michael did a bad job maintaining it. He couldn't pull anything off with Hyman Roth. He fucked up the whole Frank Pantangeli murder.
Who's he based off of, by the way? Hyman Roth. Come on, cuz.
I don't know. Who?
Meyer Lansky.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So what you're saying is, I'm agreeing with you here. I'm just trying to follow you. So you're saying the fact that, okay, so the whole Hyman Roth thing, his father developed this relationship with Hyman Roth for years that was very profitable, very successful, very respectful. Right. And then Hyman Roth didn't respect Michael that much that he tried to have him killed.
Well, it was because he whacked Mo Green, and Mo was his boy.
Well, was it because of Mo Green, or was it?
Remember when
Michael...
I
know the talk. I know. I remember when he goes there and he's like, he does the whole
Michael confronted him about Frank, and yes. He was saying like, I never questioned
I didn't
the
ask
order.
Who gave the order, because the order had nothing to do with business.
So I think there were other factors, but I think that was the beginning of the end for Hyman and Michael, was the Mo Green killing.
So that's the question. So that's the question I have, though. So when he said that, right? So Mo Green was already dead, correct?
But there was another relationship.
Hold on. But what I mean is, with that speech, Mo Green was already dead, right?
Correct.
And Hyman Roth and Michael Corleone still could have had a very profitable business if they chose to, right? So he's basically saying it had nothing to do with business. Did he give that order based on personal issues like Michael did, right? Or
he
was
might have, because Michael didn't have the ability to completely act from a place of business only. No matter how much shit he wanted to talk, Michael let his anger and his what he thought was a good way of ruin him, right? Like, look at when the Salazzo meeting in one, and Sonny gets out of line, and instead of embarrassing him publicly, Vito says, "You could see I spoil my kids. They talk when they should listen." And then when he leaves the room, he yells at him for never letting anybody outside the family know what you're thinking again.
Which, the role that I'm in now, thankfully, I realize any good leader, any good department head, any good CEO, whatever.
You do that shit behind the scenes.
That's what you do, right?
Now, let's cut to the end of 2, when Michael comes back from Vegas and he embarrasses Tom in front of Rocco and Al. And Tom says to him, "Why do you hurt me, Michael?" And he says, "Just give me your answer. Are you staying with me or are you leaving?" Like, this is his own brother. Stepbrother, yes, but still, it's his own brother, and he's treating him like a jerk-off for no good reason.
Here's the question. Is it because he saw back in 1, right, so Vito was this great Don, right? And people still betrayed him. Is it because he thought that Vito, as smart as he was, as calculating as he was, as foreseeing as he was, he could see things, right? He knew about Barzini, right, going to...
Whoever approaches you is the traitor.
Going to Tessio, right? Going to Tessio. He knew all about that. But did he view Vito as weak sometimes? Is that what it was? Did he look at it as...
I don't think so. I think he tried to do things differently and tried to learn from his dad's mistakes. I don't think he viewed him as weak. Because remember when he realizes that when Kay tells him, "I had to have an abortion because I couldn't stand to bring another one of your kids into the world."
He said one of your sons.
And he slaps her. Then he goes to his mom. And he says, what was in Papa's heart? He said, "Because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my family." And the mother says, "You can never lose your family. What are you talking about?" But then he does lose his family. Like, he's still, I think he looked up to his father and he respected him. I definitely think he tried to learn from his mistakes and do things differently, but it went horribly sideways for him.
Well, what's interesting, I can't believe you just said that. What's interesting about with Mama Corleone, I forget her name. What the hell was her name? You never really hear it. She's Mama.
I want
to
say Rita, but I don't think we know.
She's Mama the whole time.
Yeah, she seems like a Rita to me.
But like, she just said about you never lose your family. It was kind of a precursor to what was about to happen in the world, right? Like in the 70s, 80s, even the 90s, everything was family.
Yeah.
And it pains me to say this, but over the past 20 years, family is not what it was 20 years ago. It's just not, right? Do you agree?
This is the point. Yes, but this is the point I'm making. It's our fault it's not like that anymore. We didn't carry forth, we as a generation didn't carry forth XYZ principles or traditions. That's exactly my point that I'm making.
I agree.
So yes, it all revolves around this Don of a family and how he either built or maintained that leadership role, and the circumstances surrounding the decisions that he makes for the family and for the business. And if you look at it through that lens, there's no one on the planet that could say Michael did any of that better than Vito.
I don't disagree, but I don't know that the average. So you and I love The Godfather, right? We grew up in the inner city, Philadelphia, grew up around a lot of that culture, kind of. Not saying we were like involved, but we grew up around a lot of.
You were adjacent to it. Yeah, for sure.
Just call it knockaround guys, right? Like guys who took bets, guys who whatever it was.
And you see this transition from a good Don to an even better Don by the time Vito dies. And he picks the lesser of four evils out of his children. But even all of his children adored him. Anthony hates Michael's guts, right? Vito's wife adored him. Kay had an abortion.
Okay.
So if the movie's main character as Vito, if you look at his contributions to the film, his contributions to the family and to the business, you can understand.
Here's what you're missing out on, though.
Go ahead.
Vito was never the main character from the first minute of one. Michael was always the main character.
I disagree.
No, dude, Marlon Brando.
Why is
Marlon Brando may have been the lead bill because he's the highest at that time in the 70s.
And I'm not talking about that money and shit like that. I'm not talking about who was first.
The movie's about Michael Corleone. It's not about Vito.
Michael, but Michael's not the main character. And here's the thing.
I disagree.
Why do you think, by and large, the entire planet doesn't consider 3 part of the trilogy?
It's not that they don't consider 3 part of the trilogy. I think it's more because
Vito's not in it.
Well, Vito's not in it as Marlon Brando either in 2.
Vito's in it, but
I
it's
know,
not
I
about
know.
Marlon Brando. That's what I'm saying.
I understand, but most people associate Vito with Marlon Brando. Let's be frank.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about right now. You and I know better. What I'm saying is 2 is only a good movie because Vito's in it. And if it was a pure prequel, it would have been way better than 1.
So I'm going to be able to argue that when I prove my point. But go ahead, keep going.
So the best parts of 2 are Vito. All Michael did was fuck up and ruin everything his father built when you saw him in 2.
He did not fuck up anything.
He did. He fucked up everything.
What are you talking about?
He couldn't convince.
They ended up buying multiple casinos.
No, they did not. He couldn't convince Mo to. You enter into 2 with him trying to buy back Mo's casino and trying to buy Mo out. And Fredo
he wasn't buying Mo out at that point. He already had the casino and had to get the gaming license, is what happened with the senator.
Mo's exact words were, "You don't buy me out, I buy you out." He's like, "I made a deal with the..."
That was in 1.
But it's irrelevant, though. But what I'm saying is everything Michael did was a mistake. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter which film it was in.
No, the Mo Green was all in 1, though. That was the murdering of the 5 families. It all happened at the same time.
But what I'm saying is, we're not talking about which film it bleeds into. The topic that we're discussing at this point in time is everything Michael did was it failed. He couldn't convince Mo to.
How did it fail? In 3,
I'm going to explain it to you.
But by the time 3 happened, he had almost $1 billion.
But 3 was so far. First of all, that was his father's money. Number 1. Number 2,
no,
3 was so
his father
far in
never
advance.
had that kind of money, cuz.
Listen, in 5 years, the Corleone family is going to be.
Within 5 years, the Corleone family is going to be completely legitimate.
And 2 opens up 7 years later, and he's not even close. That's number 1.
But then by 3, they're 3/4 legitimate.
No, he doesn't become legitimate until Immobiliare.
But he had legitimate holdings, which allowed him to be involved in the Vatican.
But the statement was completely legitimate. And that didn't happen until the beginning of 3, which is years later. And we're not talking about 3. We're talking about 1 and 2.
Okay.
And when it comes to decisions Michael made, he fucked everything up. He couldn't convince Mo to go in partners with him, so he had to whack him. That killing upset Hyman Roth. To your point, Hyman wanted to preach business, 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 but I definitely think he was emotional when it came to that. And so that was the beginning of the end. That was the wedge in the relationship between Michael and Hyman. He totally messed up the Frank Pantangeli thing. He never should have killed Frank or attempted to kill Frank, and then sent Tom to go tell Frank to.
No, here's the thing, though. That's not in 1.
I'm saying all the mistakes Michael made were horrible. I mean, all the decisions Michael made were horrible mistakes.
Okay. Here's my argument, right?
Go ahead.
So we see Godfather 1, okay? We open up, and it's already Connie's goddamn wedding, all right? Connie's the youngest, okay? Right? She's the youngest out of the siblings, not the youngest son, youngest out of the siblings.
Is she? I can't remember if her or Fredo came last in
Whoa,
two,
whoa.
when they were babies.
Fredo's older than Michael. It's
I
Sonny.
mean, Michael. Who came last as
Oh,
a
maybe
baby?
it is Michael. Maybe Michael's the youngest.
Yeah.
So
yeah. When they're sitting on the stoop, you know that iconic
Yeah.
picture of them
yeah,
young?
yeah. And he's like, Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Connie's the youngest. Okay. So it opens
No, we
up.
just said Michael's the youngest. 5
or
seconds
Michael's
ago.
the youngest. Sorry.
Yeah.
It opens up and we're already at Connie's wedding. Okay. So we go through and we find out they're already a mafia family. Okay. Which is great for one, because you want to be engaged from the beginning. You don't care about the backstory. You don't care about where they came from. You care about, in one, you want to get sucked in, correct? You want to get to know the characters like you're saying. Okay. In my opinion, there are maybe 3 iconic scenes, maybe 4 in one. Okay. You got the Luca Brasi scene. Okay.
When he approaches Vito at the wedding, or when he gets murdered?
No, when he gets murdered. No, when he approaches Vito at the wedding, excuse me.
Yeah.
Right? And he's sitting there
The
talking
opening
to
is
himself.
iconic.
Right? The opening's iconic. Okay.
Luca
and then you have
with Vito
Luca with
is
Vito.
iconic.
The Causeway.
The Causeway is iconic.
Okay.
When Michael and Enzo are standing out front trying to defend his father.
Maybe. I think that the more iconic scene is probably
when Sonny beats the shit out of Gianni Russo's character.
Again, I don't know. That's iconic. I think it's a popular scene.
Come on,
right?
Buzz.
Right. So we have 3 so far. We have the Causeway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have the opening scene where it's the Undertaker. Okay.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
And we have leave the gun, take the cannoli. All right. That's 4.
Mattresses.
All right. I don't know.
No one knew what that was, and that still is talked about
because
today.
People who were involved in the life around knockaround guys, they knew what it was. The other iconic scene is when Kate calls Michael and Clemenza is making the sauce for the guys.
Yeah.
Right. That's another one.
Take the sausage and meatballs and you shove it in.
Okay. Obviously, when he shoots, McCluskey and Salazzo. Okay.
You tape the gun behind it. So the ending, when he slams the door in Kay's face. This one time,
again, I don't know. I don't know. The opening of Godfather 2, in my opinion, is way more iconic than the opening of 1. All right. You're in Tahoe at the communion scene.
What's about that?
Right.
What about that's iconic?
So it's just basically everything's wide open, and you see that Michael has now pretty much taken over everything in the commission, pretty much. All right, so that's way more iconic than 1.
Vito gave it all to him. He didn't take it over. Vito gave it to him.
What? No, he didn't give it to him. Are you crazy? Michael grew that family much larger than Vito ever envisioned.
You get no confirmation of that whatsoever.
Vito was not entrenched into the United States the way that Michael brought the Corleone family into the United States. Maybe Vito had little pieces with Hyman Roth.
Vito ran the Hyman-Roth relationship.
Right.
So you like Anthony's christening better than Connie's wedding?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
You said 2 opened way better.
The immediate opening, where it opens up, then it's the music playing, and they're sitting there. All right. It's better than when it just opens up and it's
The Undertaker talking?
And the Undertaker talking.
That's iconic.
I don't disagree, but I think the opening of 2 is better. This is why we're having this conversation, right?
So let's talk about Michael killed Carlo. Michael killed his brother. He neglected Connie.
Whoa. We're talking about 2 now. All right, let me get my 2 cents in.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So then we move from now he negotiates with the senator. Okay. So now
the senator tells him to go fuck himself.
So this goes, well, does he? This goes back to your point, right? About how he's an asshole, right? He's ruthless. He's not the respected Don that Vito was. But do we now find out that he was smarter than Vito? He was more calculating. Wait, what? So he basically sits there and says to the Senator, my offer is nothing.
Yeah.
Not even the fee for the gaming license. And then what happens later, right?
That was all Tom. That was all Tom. Michael wasn't even in the country.
So Tom is doing everything without Michael knowing, is what you're saying.
Tom
I don't think that's even a.
Tom orchestrated that entire. First of all, it was Fredo's rub and tug, and when they orchestrated that,
they set him up, correct,
right,
on Michael's order, not on Tom's order.
No,
on Michael's order.
No.
Cuz
Again, no proof. There's no proof.
You're trying to justify your point that one is better.
There's no proof of that.
There's no proof. He's the boss. The consigliere is not going to take matters into his own hands.
That's exactly what Michael had him do.
That's not what happened. Michael had him do it. But he took it into his own hands.
No, Michael had him take over. There was a period where Michael had him take over.
The family.
Yeah, where my wife sleeps, where my children play with their toys. Right after they whacked him, he put Tom in charge because they walked outside looking for the dead bodies from New York, and Tom said, Rocco, get the bodies. And Rocco said, where's Mike? And he said, Rocco, get the bodies. Michael put him in charge.
He was in charge for like a week.
And what I'm saying is there's no proof that Tom didn't come up with that idea on his own. I'm not saying Michael was in the dark about it.
Okay, so what you're saying is Tom may have had the idea, and then he had to get the okay from Michael. Okay, so let's move on, prosecutor.
But what is your point, though, about that?
They
had to stage a fake murder in a strip joint to get the guy to listen to reason. Vito would have never had to go to those extremes.
How do you know? He cut a horse's head off to get his godson a part in a movie.
That was for his godson, not for a senator for a liquor license. That's a family thing.
Whoa,
the
liquor license. Whoa. The liquor license was getting his whole family set up, making sure the senator signed off on the liquor license.
Making a business move that benefits your family versus doing something for a family member. Those are two completely different things.
No, it's not.
I know it's hard for you to understand because you're Irish, but doing something for your for your godson is completely different than making a business maneuver that may benefit your family in the future.
All right, so we'll agree to disagree. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the movie.
But what's your point about the senator in the first place, though? Of course, he became a kiss ass after they staged a fake murder that they pinned on him.
What I'm saying is, from the beginning, you said that he bowed down to him, right? Like the senator destroyed him in the beginning.
You said the senator wasn't good with any of his decisions. So let's follow that thread. So let's pretend Michael orchestrated the whole thing. So the senator told him to go fuck himself in the opening scene, right? He's like, I don't even like you greasy hair motherfuckers in my city. Then Michael stages this fake hit in Fredo's rub and tug, which he couldn't stand Fredo. And he sends Tom to bail him out. So now the senator has to kiss their ass. That led to nothing. The senator, at the end, when Frank's brother comes...
What do you mean it led to nothing? He got up and walked out of the hearing when he was the one leading it.
It didn't do anything.
All the credibility of the hearing, right there. The guy who was leading the hearing got up and said, hey, I just want people to know that I've been around Italian Americans. I find them as some of the hardest working Americans I've ever been around.
That was so fake.
I understand that. But Michael Corleone, now he's involved in the federal government. He has his fingers in the federal government, something that his father never did.
But
Vito had his hands in local politicians in New York. Vito never had his hands in the feds.
They don't confirm that he didn't.
Michael has, there's no proof, right? There's no proof that he did. There's no proof that he did. We have proof that Michael Corleone got himself inserted to controlling senators, members of the U.S. Senate.
That guy getting up and leaving didn't help Michael one iota. Michael still had to get. You got
to remember where he was at. It wasn't a court of law. It was a congressional hearing. It was all about the court of public opinion.
Vincenzo Pantani.
It was all about the court of public opinion. So once the gentleman, the senator, right, from whatever state he was from, all right, Las Vegas, got up
Nevada,
and said, hey, listen, I have another hearing to go to. I have to recuse myself. But I just want to say, once that happened, all the people reading the newspapers every day about this hearing that's coming up, led by that senator, whatever the hell his name was.
You're making all that shit up. There were no newspapers being read in Godfather II. You're making all that up based on what you know about politics in 2026.
That's how life, because the people aren't reading newspapers in 2026.
First of all, there was no indication he was the head of that hearing. He was a loser who got up in the middle and walked off.
Well, he wasn't the chairman, but he was the one who brought it to the committee.
Yeah, so the guy who brought it is blowing the guy who he brought in front of everybody else. That's no big win.
It is. Of
course you would do that.
It is, because now the people, he brought it, he's the one who accused them, and then he's the one who gets up and says, hey, listen, I have to go. I'm not going to vote on this. I have to go to another hearing.
Him doing a complete 180 on his decision of Michael is no different than Frank getting scared when he saw his brother and saying that he made it all up. All that shows is that they were scared of getting whacked by the mafia. It doesn't prove that Michael was a great Don.
You just proved
That's what I just said. Vito was loved. Michael was feared. We said that earlier.
There is another huge transition, right?
Okay, now that one is jerked off and you noticed there's nothing to it. Now you want to bring up another one.
No, I'm just saying that's another huge scene in Godfather 2. So we go from the senator recusing himself to then we go to Frank Pantangeli coming in saying, oh, I made stories about this. They asked me, did Michael Corleone do that? So I said, yeah, he did.
Again, had nothing to do with Michael. It was because of his brother.
Okay, but again, these are all great scenes and great climaxes that happen in the film. All right, so now we leave there and now we go to Cuba, correct? I think right after that we go to Cuba.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're in Cuba, which now is when you realize the Godfather, Mario Puzo, he's writing this based on real events. All right, because the real mafia in the 40s, 50s were all involved in Cuba. Yeah. Okay, the whole rebellion that happened where they kind of kicked all the mafiosos out. I don't know if it happened the same way it did on New Year's Eve. It really did happen that way.
The Irishman does the same thing when Buffalino talks about we got to get back into Cuba. That's the real point. Tell Hoffa to relax. Yeah,
correct. So now there's never been a bigger climax, in my opinion, in cinema, in film, right?
Here you go.
Where you sit there and they go to see Superman, all right? The guy with the 9-inch grapefruit, all right? And literally he's like, how do you know about this place? And Fredo goes, oh, you know what? Old man Rolf, no, Johnny Ola brought me here. Old man Rolf would never be caught dead here, but Johnny Ola knows these places like the back of his hand. And if you were following the movie, you remember when Fredo brought the money.
Yeah, and they pretended like they didn't know each other.
Yeah. He goes, no, I don't know him. And he starts hitting the cigarette and he asks for a drink, right? My heart, the first time I saw Godfather 2, my heart sank. I've seen it 45 times since then.
That's nothing.
Every time I watch it, I go, oh
Michael
my God.
Wackin, Salazzo, and what's the name in the first one?
Are you nuts?
Nothing compared to it.
Who did Michael betray in one when he did that? He betrayed his own brother. Because he betrayed his brother. The whole movie is about don't ever discuss anything outside the family.
You're proving my point.
Don't ever betray outside the family.
His brother? You know why he betrayed his brother?
Why?
Because his brother treated him like a piece of shit.
So did his father.
No, he didn't.
What do you mean? His father even said, when he said, Sonny would have been a bad Don. Fredo, who knows about Fredo? He knew.
He knew Fredo wasn't capable. He knew Fredo wasn't capable of taking his place. But even when Fredo couldn't defend him and he got whacked, he still loved him and didn't turn his back on him.
Correct. Michael loved him and didn't turn his back on him. That's why he had a whack, because it hurt him so much.
Alive, you're alive. He only did that until his mother died. He only pretended until his mother died.
Because he tried to have him killed. Because Fredo tried to have him killed. He went along with it.
What I'm saying is, no, I wholeheartedly believe Fredo was dumb enough to not realize that Hyman was the one orchestrating the hit. Because Michael didn't even realize it in the beginning, or he never would have orchestrated the hit on Frank. Well, so if Michael didn't pick it up in the beginning, Fredo absolutely didn't.
See, again, I think you're underestimating Michael Corleone. I think everything he did every time was calculated.
No, he totally fucked up the Frank Pantangeli situation. He had no idea in the beginning.
So the Frank Pantangeli situation where he walked in and they didn't kill him and the cops came in, I'll give you that, because that's why they had to whack. That's why they had to whack Hyman Roth.
Right, but if Hyman tricked Michael in the beginning, you don't think he tricked Fredo too?
Of course he may have tricked Fredo.
Okay. No, of course he did trick Fredo. So what I'm saying is the reason Fredo betrayed him is because Michael treated him like a douchebag. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying Fredo did anything good. I'm saying he had motive because Michael treated him like a douchebag. This is going to my whole point.
But does that make Michael a bad Don or a bad person? Fredo deserved to be treated like a jerk off.
When your blood relative tries to join a conspiracy to have you whacked, that makes you a bad Don. 1,000%.
Because my brother is fucking 56 years old. I love him to death. He's a jerk off.
I'm not saying that both things can't be true. What I'm saying is, if you whack your brother because he felt resentful because you never even gave him the time of day in business, it's because he was a bad Don. He whacked Connie's husband. I don't think he ever should have done that.
Is that being a bad Don, or is that protecting your sister?
No, but Connie didn't perceive it that way for a long time. It wasn't until the end of 2, beginning of 3, where Connie came back into his good graces.
No,
Connie didn't want anything to do with him the whole 2. We started by saying they're both 2 of the best movies ever made. Just because 2 has iconic scenes doesn't make it better than 1, but it does still make it one of the best movies of all time.
So we never even got into the fact that here's the other issue. We find out, this is why I love it, we find out the origin of Vito Corleone, right?
So this
we
is what
see,
I'm saying.
We
you
see
intentionally kept
We
your
see
mouth shut
Clemenza.
about Vito in 2 this whole time to prove your bullshit ass point about Michael.
Correct.
I'm not stupid.
So we see how Vito came to America, right? We see that he came by
Vito
himself.
Andolini.
Vito Andolini. We see that the Don what's his name?
Don Cheech.
Don Chichi.
Yeah.
Don Chichi, was any male, Corleone, because the father made a threat against the Don.
You see young Tomasino.
You see young Clemenza. You see young Tessio, right? You see when they're in 1918 New York living in tenements, and Vito comes home and brings a pair home.
Yeah.
And it was like the greatest thing on earth. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I see that stuff, I actually get a little envious, because bringing a pair home, right? Life was so much more simple.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't because he still needed to bring in way more than a pair. That's what started him on that path.
Well,
because although she was appreciative, it wasn't enough.
Well, I think it was more that he wanted to, right? I think what happened was, I think that he met Clemenza. All right. Clemenza takes him to get the rug. And I think at that point, he realized there's money out there for the taking. I think it was Clemenza that I think Vito had more brains, more balls. He was more calculated, right? You could see it when they were breaking into the house to get the.
Yeah.
You could see he was like, what's going on here? Is this worth it? You could see it, you know?
He knew it wasn't his friend's crib. But
correct.
I
think
agree
once
with you
that happened,
Clemenza got him into the game, but it wasn't at that point in time. It was when he was giving him the rug as a favor for hiding the guns. But it was after that when Finucci demanded that they give him his taste of the dresses.
Correct.
And the 3 of them were sitting at Vito's table. That was the beginning of Don Corleone.
Correct. That was when, hey, listen, he wants whatever it was. I don't know, $200 or
give me 100 each and I'll take care of the rest.
If you remember, and it was in subtitles, that was the first time I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. That was the first time that line was uttered.
The first time in that movie. That became iconic in 1.
Correct. What's also interesting in that scene, well, yeah, but that was the origin. So you're right. Excuse me. I misspoke.
I'm going to make him know if he can't refuse wasn't iconic.
It was in 1, but we now realize the origin was in 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what I mean.
But again, if 2 was a pure prequel, I think it would have been better than 1. Because my point all along is Vito was a better Don than Michael. If Vito was alive in 2 and remained Michael's consigliere, I think that would have been so much stronger of a 2. Don't get me wrong. I love the going back to Cali scenes. Like, I love the young Vito stuff. I wish, this is what I think should have happened. Vito should not have died. Vito should have remained Michael's consigliere in 2. And 3 should have been a pure prequel, where Vito goes back to Sicily, and the whole 3 should have been about Vito, young Vito. There should have never been any Immobiliare and Joey Zaza shit.
So the Joey Zaza shit and all that was crazy in
and
3.
Vincent.
I agree. So here's the funny thing.
Vincent was a good character. I liked Vincent.
Vincent was a good character. Like, I love the writing there, because we know from Godfather, right, that Sonny was banging everything that walked. Right, he was banging the bridesmaid at the wedding, right?
Yeah,
and Tom
that's his mother.
Laugh.
That's Vincent's mother.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I love the writing there, where all of a sudden there's a half brother, a half cousin,
Uncle Mike.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's funny is, if you remember, he walks in at first and he's like, hey, Mr. Corleone. And then all of a sudden it's Uncle Michael. He's like, Uncle
yeah.
Mike, tell him how you talk shit.
Joey Zaza was going to send me a message.
And then he bites his ear off. So I don't know. I mean, again, just my opinion. Think Godfather 2 is better just because of the origin stories, right?
But I
love
think
the fact
we're going to
that
have to let the audience choose. I think we both.
But
made
here's the other thing:
compelling
was it? And
arguments.
I wasn't around in 1974. Was it 74? I think Godfather 2 is 74. So think about this: was it one of the first movies that did prequel and a sequel in
Together.
the same movie?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Does that right there make it superior? And not opinion, just from a filmmaker standpoint, from the work that went into it, the writing. Does that right there make it superior?
What I'm saying is not popular opinion. Most people think 2 is better. Now, to your point, yes, prequel, sequel combined, I think that made history. And the people that say 2 is better means that it was the first time a part 2 was stronger than the part 1. So a lot of people say that. What I'm saying, most people don't agree with. I think that when you look at every facet, the soundtrack, there's no soundtrack to 2. That waltz from
I don't
1,
know. I will say this: I don't know the soundtracks to either.
the string.
But I do. I know the waltz. I know what you mean. Yeah.
The waltz is iconic. The waltz didn't exist in 2.
But I can argue this: another iconic thing is when Frank Pantangeli goes up to the band in Nevada and Lake Tahoe, and he's like, "I can't believe this! Not a single Italian here." They start playing "Pop Goes the Weasel."
Again, but that wasn't better than when the old man is going, in the beginning of 1. They just tried to repeat all the same shit from 1.
I disagree, but
Frank is a great character. I'll give you that. Like when he's talking, he's like, you take the word of a Jew over your own family. And Michael's like, and he's like, you're over here. What's he drinking? Champagne cocktails. You know what I'm saying? Like, Frank was a great character. I love
when they're at the dinner table and he knocks the wine over.
Yeah, he's like, I love, and there's a deleted scene where Frank is giving Anthony money.
I know you mean.
We're at the table, Michael's son, and he gives him, I don't know if he gives him a 20 and says, I would have given you 100, or if he gives him 100 and says, I would have given you 1,000, but he gives him a low dollar amount on purpose. And he's like, I would have given you more, but I didn't want to disrespect your father. You know what I mean? And like, Anthony walks by and he gives him like a 20 or 100. And he's like, I would have given you more, but I didn't want to disrespect your father because it's his christening. You know what I'm saying? But like the old greaseball thought process of like, if I go overboard with this gift, it's disrespectful to the parents. You know what I mean? Like Frank was a great character. I thought Frank might be one of the best characters in 2.
No, he was. No, Frank's friggin' incredible. Yeah. He is.
Lovable.
What's the remember when he walks into the house? So Frank Pantangeli walks into the Corleone compound. I guess we'll call it the Pantangeli compound now, right?
Right.
And his wife's like, Michael Corleone's in your office. How long has he been here? I don't know, about 30 minutes. And he walks in. I wish you had
told me, Mike.
Sits down, and he's like, I didn't want you to know I was coming. Right? And he's like, I remember when this was my father's office. There used to be a big desk right here.
Yeah.
We used to play in here as kids, as long as we were very quiet. I was very happy this house went to somebody inside the family. First Clemenza, then you took it over. And then he's like, and then all of a sudden you can see Frank in his face. He's like, what do you need, Mike? He's like, he's like, why do you ask me to lay down for it, Mike?
And during the champagne cocktails one, when he's telling him like he wants the Rosado brothers dead. I don't know why Tom had to convince him to whack himself at the end. I feel like Frank knew he had to off himself. Like there was no way out of that. You know what I mean?
No. And that was, you know what, that's funny. That was another funny scene where he's sitting there playing pool with the feds, right? And they're like, you live here, you live there. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna live like a fucking. He's like that is
my
great.
life's over after this. Yeah. So
Shit.
What else do you have to say? Because I think I'm winning the conversation. I mean, that's just...
Listen, our argument, you may be winning because you're probably way involved in the Godfather 2 than I am. I personally think Godfather 2 is way better. I think the way it ends, I think the climactic scenes, with Fredo betraying him.
When you sent me the...
Excuse me, betraying Michael are way better. I think that the scenes at the end where, for example, Rocco gets killed. Right? Rocco gets killed. You never would have expected that. All right. You always
Wait,
thought that.
he got killed. He got killed when he tried to whack Hyman Roth in the hospital.
Correct.
Yeah.
He tried to smother him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got killed. All
What
right,
would you never expected that for?
John, because you didn't see many besides Sonny, right? And so
And then
Sonny,
Fredo after, yeah.
like, I'm just thinking about it. From the whole Corleone crew, you figure you had Luca Brasi, but he wasn't really a member of the family. All right, he wasn't a made guy; he was more an associate. So, made members of the Corleone family who died, who were whacked. Okay, you had
Don
Sonny.
Corleone called Luca his most valued friend.
Correct, but you didn't get the sense, and we could be wrong, right? But we talk about proof. You didn't get the sense that he was in the family, correct?
He was their lead enforcer.
Maybe, but again,
Luca
if he,
is the reason.
if he was in the family, if he was a made guy, a button man in the family, why would he be thankful to be invited to the wedding? He would have been invited anyway, right?
He was invited. I just think he was. I think he was, something was wrong with him. Like, he was slow. But
Okay, all right, fair enough.
think about him reciting the speech. He wasn't nervous.
No,
He
I agree.
killed
Let
for
me
this
let
man.
me go back to my points. The Corleone family, okay, we'll say Luca, maybe. All right. So you had
That's it.
you
And
had
Carlo.
Sonny. Carlo wasn't. He was an associate. Are
He
you
was
crazy?
married
Don't
to
don't
Connie.
don't ever give him a living, but don't ever discuss the family business with him. He wasn't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know what I mean? So all
Luca
right,
was
so
closer than
correct. All right, so you have Sonny. You have
maybe Luca.
not Don Chi, who got shot during the Frank Pantangeli issue, right? He was a made member.
Yeah.
Remember, he got shot in the
Chi.
street with the cops.
Laporta. Yeah.
Yeah. Rocco.
What the fuck is your point?
What other Corleone family members? They were when those happened, right? They all happened besides Sonny during 2. They were such climactic.
Luca was in 1.
I don't count Luca. I don't
Because
think
you're
Luca was.
struggling to make a fucking point over here.
No,
That's
because
why you
he
don't count
wasn't
him.
a Corleone. He wasn't a button man.
Luca was just like Rocco. He was a murderer for the family. Identical characters.
How do you know that? What is your
Rocco
proof?
was a murderer. Rocco was the murderer for Michael.
I didn't see anybody else going up and overtly thanking. I hear what you're saying, but people who were inside the family expected to be invited to the wedding. They expected to be
But
there.
that doesn't mean you still don't show respect and say thank you.
Did anybody else?
We didn't see it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Okay, we didn't see that Luca's only associate. Doesn't mean that he wasn't.
But what I'm saying is, Luca, and forget about the "May your first child be a masculine child." That's one of the most iconic statements ever in movie fucking history. That came from him. Forget about all of that. Luca is to Vito what Rocco is to Michael. They're identical. They're button men. They're the top enforcer. Bottom line, security. That's it.
So
if you count Rocco, you gotta count Luca.
I disagree.
You don't have any legs to stand on. That's why you disagree.
I do, because
explain to me.
Have you
how
seen
Rocco was different?
Because Rocco was more involved in the day-to-day than Luca ever was.
Luca is the reason that made him an offer he can't refuse exist. Luca's the reason Johnny Fontaine is a singer. Luca and my father went to visit what's her name, and they assured him either his brains or his signature was going to be on the contract.
All right,
Luca,
same thing as Frank Sheeran, right? Frank Sheeran was never a made man, but he could have been the Luca of the fucking Teamsters and the Philly mob family.
In The Irishman, if we're talking about the movie, right? We don't know what happened in real life. In The Irishman, Russell Buffalino adored Frank, and so did Jimmy Hoffa. They both looked at him like a son.
Vito adored Luca. Doesn't mean he was a made member.
But we're not talking about made members.
For all we know, Luca had an Irish mom.
What proof do you have that Rocco was a made member?
What proof do you have that Luca was?
I'm not saying he was a made member. I'm saying that he was Vito's main enforcer and Rocco was Michael's main enforcer. They played the same role.
Tell you what, we're going to close this whole episode with, I win. Godfather 2 is better. We're going to make sure the comments answer the questions.
Yeah.
Listeners, do us a favor.
We'll leave it up to the audience.
I know that I did not do the best job probably defending Godfather 2. I'm also Irish and Scottish from the United Kingdom. All right. If we want to talk about
family home, you said that in the last episode.
We want to talk about Green Street Hooligans. We want to talk about the movie Rad. I'm all in.
We should do an Irishman. I watched The Irishman. I watched The Irishman 400 times, cuz.
Right? The Irishman, I'm in.
I
can debate that all day. Godfather 2 is better.
I say Godfather 1 is better. We're gonna have to let the People's Court is over. We're gonna have to let the audience judge.
We definitely are. Listen, guys, court is adjourned. Please let us know in the comments. We thank you all for tuning in. We can't do this without you guys. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right away.
The full video and audio is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the audio platforms, and we would love you guys to follow us there as well.
Absolutely. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. We only are as good as our followers. We love our fans. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you for this week's episode. Tune in. We have way more content for you. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, cuz.